Do you have a friend like, I don't know, let's say Jeff. Jeff loads into your raids, it feels like maybe the group's DPS is low, then 30% into the gate he goes, oops, I have my chaos set on, and a restart happens. Then, just for hypothetical reasons of course, he has this happen 2 to 3 more times this week, and this repeats every week since release. Maybe you are a Jeff. Well Jeff, for your raid group's sake, or even for a more efficient daily process for things like chaos and guardians, let me break down how mass presets work and how it just makes everything better. First off, press Alt-E to see what I'm even talking about. This is your menu hub for creating presets. You have 5 to customize, but you will likely only need 2 and maybe a third at most. The skill preset option pulls from your K menu, your skill loadout. You have free access to adjust 2 different options, but cost blue crystals to make more. You will only need 2 for this, 1 for raiding and 1 for your chaos. Check out the nexus for your preferred raid build. Typically at the top of the sheet, there's a unified chaos dungeon preset with engraving priorities, so check this out. Typically things like your class engraving followed by preemptive strike contender, then by 2 others depending on your other stats are the typical route. So definitely check this out, as these builds always are significantly faster at clearing mass amounts of mobs rather than just one boss type like your raid skills are set to with their own tripods. Once the 2 are made, name them accordingly as raid or chaos and then assign for your specific mass preset. The next tab is gear presets, and this is where a lot of dysfunction happens as you level up as a new player. Press P to open your profile menu. We'll focus on your gear tab for this. On the top, you'll see different number options similar to the skill menu. First 2 are free, but cost extra for more. Note, this is a per character purchase, not a roster-wide one. You will only need 2 for this as well, 1 for chaos and 1 for raids. If you hover over your gear, you can see which relic set is attached to it, but if you press shift while hovering over it, it will condense for an easier to read menu. Typically menu 1 and 2 will be mirrors of each other, but will only have a difference of set bonuses. The Nexus usually recommends 1 of 3 sets across the board for chaos dungeons. Typically, betrayal set is the easiest go-to, but sometimes Dominion or Salvation are also used for more efficiency, so get clarity on this. The dysfunction I mentioned comes from upgrading set levels or armor pieces in general. Let's say you upgrade from level 2 to level 3 on your helmet. I believe it still overwrites that raid set into your chaos profile set, so now you will be, let's say, 5 set betrayal and 1 piece nightmare. This isn't the worst for your chaoses, but does suck for raiding. When you upgrade from Braille gear to a con gear, a similar thing occurs, but this also fully removes it from the preset. You'll typically notice this as you go into chaos for the first time after the upgrade, and when you sort your loot, you'll see your new piece just sitting in your inventory. So keep this in mind for this section. One last note with gear presets. Now with free 5x3, you can also set engravings for this preset. For chaos, I highly recommend this. Things like grudge are useless in chaos dungeons as the damage doesn't work on anything but the last boss in the second room, and things like preemptive strike paired with wide AoE moves make it a breeze. Just click the engravings option on the side. This will open the engraving select menu, then click the engraving settings icon to set up a 5x3 setup. This will attach itself to the gear menu preset, and once set can be seen inside the mass preset menu. Similar to the last time, name these presets accordingly. The gem tab is the exact same. You'll likely only have 1, but if you splurge on free gems for chaos fast builds, set this in the gem menu and name accordingly to ease confusion. Now, jumping into the card preset tab, you will likely have 1 to 2 sets here. As a DPS, you will likely have your LOS set or deep dive set, maybe your KLC set for things like Triangle or Sunnivel, and if you're lucky, entropy characters may have the back attack card set for Guardian raids. Some even opt for the defensive card set to make their personal chaos runs safer. As a support, these include the LWC or the You Have a Plan set, but also a DPS set for your chaos dungeons. You can have 3 free. This is more than enough for what you will need. Set your card sets in the respective sets, and we move to pets. Typically, you will have a pet for each of the 3 main stats: crit, spec, and swiftness. Assign the pet that is prio for this build here. Now, name these mass presets accordingly: chaos, raid, and maybe guardian if there's a different card set used. The last step is going to each menu and picking the preset made for said option. Go into the guardian menu, put the raid or guardian preset, go to the chaos and select the option, go to the abyssal dungeon and assign the preset used there. Same with legion raids, and in our friend Jeff's case, go to the Kazros menu and assign the raid preset there. A lot of folks will forget this part and head into a raid with whatever was already on them, which is typically the chaos set, and this will call for a restart. This may seem like way too much work to do on 1 to 6 characters, but this saves so much unnecessary time in all of the above raids and dungeons. People who say that raid builds are just fine for chaos dungeons aren't wrong, but if they say they are just as fast, that's just pure coping. Maybe you are new and chaos dungeons aren't so burdensome and quite fun to learn your rotations and character. This is the norm, but eventually as you get more characters, this becomes something you want to min-max your time inside, and this is the route to go down. One last tip, this is specifically for raids and guardians. In the bottom right of your character's item UI are numbers from 1 to 4. These are also presets for item loadouts. Someone may make a preset for each of the 3 weekly raids and guardians, but I just at minimum set 1 for raids across the board and a guardian preset. The raid one is typically Atro, Potion, and Whirlwind with a specific grenade that I swap per raid. For guardians, it's typically the same FPPD set, where I set Destro, Potion, Whirlwind, and a Pheromone. You can interchange the Whirlwind for something else, but this is always pretty safe for joining a lobby in Party Finder, and all I have to do is a quick click of this number or press Ctrl W to set it instead of moving around every time I do a guardian. This preset is slightly different for Garga and Veskel, but the baseline idea stays the same. As someone with way too many characters in raids to do a week, this process just makes swapping around for different activities so much easier and efficient. New players, you may not think you need this, but eventually you probably will, so you don't constantly have to swap between menus before each activity. I hope this helps someone out there. For more helpful new or returning player guides, check out my playlist for more videos like this. Check out my last video on the easiest characters for new players to get into the game with, and until next time, I'm Easy Break. Toodaloo.